Lesson 85. Roger is saving quarters so he can play video games at the arcade. He wants to save $5 worth of quarters. He has 6 quarters right now. How many more does he need? So we know that 4 quarters is $1. So $5 worth, we'd have to multiply 5 times 4, which would be 20. He has 6 quarters, so we'd need to subtract 20 minus 6. So he needs 14 more quarters. Number 2 is addition. Make sure to line up your numbers. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1 over. 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. 6 plus 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. 5 plus 1 is 6. 4 plus 9 is 13, and 3 plus 1 more is 4. And then you put a comma, because 1, 2, 3, comma. The next one is asking for each angle has 2 what and 1 shared something. So what are these? So basically an endpoint with an arrow. 2 of those. Those are rays, 1 ray, 2 ray, and they each share a common endpoint. So you can just write it here. 2 rays and 1 endpoint. Use the distributive property to multiply 36 times 21. So we're going to write 30 and 6 2 times, and 20 and 1. So here's how you set it up. Here's 30, 30, 30, so it goes with each number, 21, and 6 goes with each number of 21. Multiply it out, and then you add these up. Make sure you line them up, and it comes to 756. Number 5. Room 21 has 32 books in its library. That is 6 more than room 19. How many books does room 19 have? So if room 21 has 32 books, that's 6 more than 19. So we'd need to take 6 from 32 to figure out how many 19 has, room 19. So that would end up to be B, because this is adding 6. We want to take away. So 32 minus 6 is 26. So room 19 only has 26 books. Number 6, decompose the mixed number 1 and 3/5. Rename it in 2 different ways. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this one. I did it this way. 5 over 5 is the same as 1, and adding it to 3/5. So that's the same number. Or you can separate the fraction, the 3/5, 1 plus 1/5, 1/5 plus 2/5, that's the 3/5, and the 1 is there as well. So that's the same number too. Also, I should say. Okay, the next one, multiples of 2 are always even. Multiples of 5 end with a 0 or a 5. Choose which numbers are both multiples of 2 and 5. So 2 has to end with an even number. Well, I can get rid of this right away because that's not even. Now 5 has to end with a 5 or a 0, and that's not this one or this one. So 2 goes into 20 and it goes into 40. Number 8 is subtraction. So line up your numbers. And I can't take 4 from 3, nor can I borrow from 0. So I start with the 0. I put a 1 next to the 0. I cross off the 7 and put a 6. Now I can borrow from the 10. So I put a 1, cross off the 10 and put a 9. Then I can just subtract normally. 13 minus 4 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. And 9 minus 3 is 6. Number 9. What is the area of this rectangle? So remember, area is length times width. So you would multiply 12 times 8, and that would come out to 96. Number 10, I have 56, and I have 17,506. So this number is larger. Number 11 is division. 7 goes into 64. I'm going to start with try 9. 9 times 7 is 63, so that's as close as I can get. 4 minus 3 is 1. I bring down the 6. 7 goes into 16 twice. That's as close as I can get, and that's 14. So I put a 2 times 7 is 14. I subtract 6 minus 4 is 2. I bring down the 9. And 4 times 7 is 28. That's as close as I can get to 29. And then there's a remainder of 1. Number 12. Lines A, B, and CD are what? Parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So here's AB. Here is CD. They are not parallel because they're going to run into each other eventually. They're not perpendicular because they don't look like a cross. So they are neither. So you just write neither in the box. There's no work to show there. This year's parade had 8 times as many floats as last year's. Last year they had 5. So 8 times 5 is how many floats they have this year. So 8 times 5 is 40. Number 14, write 1 over 10, and there's 9 of them, as a multiplication problem. So one way to do that is to write 1 over 10 times 9. 9 over 1 is the same thing as 9. So I just multiply straight across, and it comes to 9 over 10. Number 15. One student with thumbs 1 3/4 inches long placed his 2 thumbs end to end. His friend measured the total length of the lined up thumbs. What was the length? So we add 1 3/4 plus 1 3/4. So I add 3 plus 3 is 6. I don't add the bottom. That stays the same when you add fractions. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 and 6 over 4 is the answer. If you want to simplify 6 over 4, you can. And they both are divisible by 2. So then it would be 2 and 3 over 2. And that can still be simplified even more. But you can leave it at that, because that's a little bit tricky. But I did it the whole way. And I can show you with our discs in class how to do that.